TGIF, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully your Friday's off to a banging start, and hopefully your Friday night is just, I don't know, peachy keen, super duper, whatever kind of weird words you want to come up with. Hope it's awesome.
Yeah, hopefully everyone is excited for a nice Friday night, and we got a monster baseball slate to talk over.
Classic Friday, right? 14-game slate. Let's rock and roll. Are we sharing right now?
Here we are.
Okay, perfect. All right, guys. Also, Drafters Draft today, 3 p.m. Seems like it should be a time to work for a bunch of us. We're looking to get more of you guys to come play with us. You know, I'm on here begging on a daily basis. If anybody wants to appease me today and come get into our player pool of Drafters players, our promo code is DFS 5-pack. Use it, don't use it. That's completely up to you. Just looking for more players. We do these daily fantasy snake drafts. So it's like an old school traditional fantasy league, only just for the day. So it's more with like the DFS appeal. We usually, I don't know, anywhere from 5 to 10 of us who play. We could easily run 12 today with how big the slate is. Sign on up. If you're already playing there, just hit up that Facebook group and join it, and we'll keep adding you. Let me know if you want to be in it. We'd love to have more of you guys come play.
Yeah, excited to get it tonight, man. The more the merrier, as always. And yeah, use our promo code. Don't use our promo code. I don't see why you wouldn't use our promo code, but we just want more people playing.
Yeah, we have so much fun playing on these every day. I just need like a few more players, guys. Weekly and monthly memberships are available. Let's get you both MLB and NBA. The NBA playoffs are almost here. We're going to make ourselves some money, guys. Come grab a membership, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. Thumbs up is always appreciated. So, interesting pitching slate today because there's a handful of guys, all really, really similarly priced today that you can put into your DF lineups, whether that be cash or GPP. We came to the same conclusion, though. Sounded like we started the day at the same spot. We talked it through, and this didn't change anything. We feel the safest and get the warm and fuzzies from Jack Flaherty today. We all know the Rockies are not good. This game is St. Louis, nice pitcher park. He's going to be pretty popular today. Going up against his new teammate, Nolan Arenado's old team. So if you're looking at that to be a get-up spot, you got that working for you. It just feels safe.
Yeah, he feels real safe with a little bit of upside to boot considering the matchup. He's been rock solid this year. Maybe more solid than spectacular, but still pretty damn good, averaging a tick over 20 DK points per game. You know, gets a real good spot at home against the Rockies here. Just a lot to like about him in all formats. On a slate where we don't have like the Jacob deGroms and, you know, Shane Bieber or Corbin Burnses of the world, Flaherty, I think, is the best option at 9,400.
Yeah, I agree. Again, he gives you the warm and fuzzies a little bit. You feel very safe. Like you would be surprised if this guy was the reason that your lineups are awful tonight. You know, he had a rough opener and then a rough first inning against the Marlins, and he's been good since then. He's 5-0. You know, got that whip of 1. Just a rock solid play top to bottom.
Amen.
All right, next up, cash lock. I guess probably the hottest hitter in baseball, Giancarlo Stanton. Price tag is finally catching up with where he deserves to be, but the talent has never really been the issue with Stanton, right? Like we know the power is there. It's just been consistently being on the field. Well, he's been consistently there this year. He's in one of those hot streaks that we have seen him in. And when this dude is locked in, he's as good as they come. He has 20 of his past 36 with a whole bunch of extra base hits, including a whole bunch of balls that have left the ballpark. Tonight he is at home against Patrick Corbin. We are still trying to figure out who Patrick Corbin is, but he hasn't at any point this year really looked like the dominant pitcher we've seen him at times. Stanton's had pretty good success off of him in his career, 6 of 18 with 4 extra base hits. And we know that Stanton's upside is elite, right? This guy's double home runs waiting to happen.
Remember when he went on that stretch when he won the NL MVP and he was just on an absolute tear? He reminds me of that right now. You mentioned it. When he's been on the field consistently, he's normally put up monster numbers. When he's in a hot stretch like this, these are a fade at your own risk. And even the largest of tournaments and cash games, you just plug them in and go along with your day.
You know, especially playing this ballpark, right? Like Giancarlo Stanton makes Yosemite look like a Little League field because he's got his power is up there with anybody we've ever seen ever, right?
He might have the most power of any hitter I've ever seen.
Right, like, have you ever seen this dude without his shirt? He is built like a brick house. He looks like he makes some NFL linebackers look small. Like, he is a football player of the highest level playing baseball. And with that exit velo off the bat, then you put him in Yankee Stadium, where, like, it don't take much to hit home runs in Yankee Stadium. So, like, he can miss it and grab you those 14 points with a solo home run.
for sure.
All right, next up. So Francisco Lindor, your former boy of your Cleveland Indians. We've talked about him a lot this year, mostly because it's been all bad. And it was kind of hilarious. We ended up in the same spot. We saw the same thing yesterday that we wanted to talk about today. And we really wish he wasn't facing Zach Gallen. But, Zach Gallen isn't Jacob deGrom either. So Lindor has struggled to move it into the NL this year. But he's now got 3 straight games with a walk. And even better, he walked 3 times yesterday, got himself a single. He's so expensive today that nobody's going to go here. We look at this as like a very sneaky GPP one-off.
Yeah, very sneaky GPP one-off with massive upside because we know who Lindor is. He's still got power for days, even if he hasn't shown it yet. Big-time buying science, as you mentioned it. Not only has he walked in 3 straight and he got a hit in his last at-bat yesterday, his outs, he made a couple of loud outs yesterday, which is a welcome surprise after watching a bunch of his at-bats over the past 2 weeks. So you can tell he's starting to find himself a little bit. Isn't guaranteed he has a good game today, no. But again, we like the buying signs he's showed. And yeah, I really wish he was in more of a cupcake matchup than facing Zach Gallen. But as you also mentioned, Zach Gallen is not Jacob deGrom. He's not these guys that you're, definitely afraid to pick one batter against. So I like Lindor here as a really sneaky tournament one-off. Again, not a guy like you have to force in, but if you can swing it, I like the idea of getting here a lot.
I think we both agree his ownership today is sub 5%.
Yeah, I mean, it could be sub 1%.
Right? Because he doesn't deserve much more than that. So I was listening to a couple of NFL pundits talking about Julio Jones today. And the whole idea was the Falcons trading him because you want to abandon a guy 1 year early so you get maximum value out of him. DFS is like the flip side of that. You want to find that guy 1 day early before the masses get onto him. And we're going to take a shot with Lindor today. Again, if he goes back to looking like garbage and goes 0 for 5 with 3 Ks, not surprised. But if this is like his jumping off point for the New York Mets, and he leads the game off with a home run or hits a home run in the first inning, doubles later in the game, steals a base at some points and gets you 25, you want him today on a big slate like this with no ownership before everybody else starts paying attention to one of the better players who's just off to a god-awful season.
For sure.
All right, next up, so we're going to talk about another middle infielder, a guy you pointed out as we were kind of running through, our members-only video on him. And then looking at ownership projections, he's projected to be one of the chalkier batters on the day, and that's Marcus Semien of the Toronto Blue Jays. We talk about the Blue Jays a lot because they're a high upside team. They run a little bit. They got power. Semien is right in that mold. He's about a 20-20 type of fella. Coming off a big game yesterday, duly eligible, home run and stolen base upside. I don't want to stack necessarily against Urquidy, but I don't fear a high upside one-off or mini stack against a guy like Urquidy. So Semien's a guy doesn't need to have a monster day to give you points. He's a guy who can take a walk, steal second, and then score a run. You get 9 points without him doing much. But the flip side of that is he can also go off because he can hit a home run and steal a base in the same day.
He's just way too cheap. We talked about Lindor against Gallen. Well, I don't even think Urquidy's on the same level as Gallen. Maybe a level below. Not crazy far apart, but Semien, again, this is a guy that is being upper fours, 5K recently. Big time power, runs a bit. I'm a huge Semien fan. He's just way too cheap. Hitting at the top of this Toronto lineup, guaranteed to be there with Springer out. A lot to like here in all formats.
All right, next up. So when we want to talk about upside, your boy FRANMIL Reyes, you want to talk about, having the size of a football player like we mentioned with Stanton. Reyes is a big old dude right here with his power and his ability to hit the ball a long way. I mean, he's right up there with the Gallos and the Stantons and the Judges of the world. Even Sano, if he was any good, for example. He's a big boy with big power. And do you want to know who FRANMIL Reyes is? Look through his game log. 6 terrible games and 4 big upside games. Might be a little high on the upside there. Maybe take that out to 2 or 3 monster upside games. But that's what wins GPP tournaments on DraftKings. It's guys who can get you those 25 and 30-point games. You need a few of those in your lineup, and he is fully capable of that.
Stanton is 100% much more ripped and has the much leaner physique. But as far as in terms of the straight girth, they're similar. I mean, Reyes is a mountain of a man. He is huge, and he's got power for days as well. Homered and walked in his last 2 at-bats yesterday, facing a lefty and Wade Miley who doesn't strike out a lot of guys. Miley's not a guy we want to completely stack against, but we certainly don't mind a bat or 2 against him. And Reyes with massive power upside in this spot. I'm not sure how much love he gets, but there's so many good outfielders on this slate. It's hard for any of them to be chalk.
FRANMIL Reyes is like the dad bod version of Giancarlo Stanton.
Yes.
Like a lot of the same overall strength. He just also likes to eat cheeseburgers and drink beer to go along with it. So he doesn't have quite, he's got a little more fluff around the massive power they have. Giancarlo Stanton is like what we all wish we looked like.
Yes, he is like cut. He's like one of the most cut human beings I've ever seen.
And he might legitimately be the most cut baseball player we've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, he is just ripped for days. Reyes is big like that, but just differently. And I appreciate both of them.
Yeah, he's got the burger and beer body physique over all that muscle. He's just a massive dude. I mean, Reyes probably weighs more than Stanton does.
Yeah, because it's funny. Whenever I hear like the Yankees, watching the Yankees game, the opposing announcers, or even the Yankees announcers will say, and Stanton's comes in at, I can't remember exactly how tall he is. What's he, like 6'4", 40? He's like 6'4", 240. And then you hear Aaron Judge like 6'7", 290 or whatever. It's crazy to think that Judge is that much bigger than Stanton.
Yeah, Judge is as tall as really any baseball player that we've ever seen. He's just a big
and he's
guy.
Big to boot. Like he's big to boot as well as being tall. He's not quite as cut as Stanton, but he's also a monster.
When you see those guys next to each other, it's a steady reminder of how big Aaron Judge is, or because it makes you think Giancarlo Stanton's not that big. Right. Yeah, that ain't the thing, man. Giancarlo Stanton is a specimen.
Exactly. Like that ain't the thing. Exactly.
So Judge just happens to be, small forward height as opposed to Stanton, who's more point guard height or shooting guard height.
Exactly.
Yeah. Either way, they don't make baseball players back in the day like this. Like when you see guys like the elite baseball players back in the day, we had Babe Ruth smoking a pack a day and getting drunk. We got other guys, the Mickey Mantles of the world and stuff like that. Like, yeah, these are athletes, but they weren't built like these dudes.
No, they were not. I mean, if these dudes went back in time and played then, they'd do whatever they wanted, as far as I'm concerned.
No questions, guys. All right, man. That's what we got for y'all today. We'll talk some NBA here in a little while. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Don't hesitate to click that thumbs up button, and wishing you all the best of luck in your GPP and cash games this evening.
Thanks, guys.